Lonsdale.
Tom, you require
a fabulous start.
127.
He wants the Hinks for a 12-darter.
1-2-7 and
shot on
game.
the third leg. Tom
and the
Lonsdale.
third leg to Tom Lonsdale.
But it
Davies,
might only be the
72.
one. And it might only be the one opportunity. 20 for tops. Well, Lonsdale comes back for the match. Little shimmy to the right. Beautiful.
Shot on the fourth leg. Davies.
Fantastic darts there. Key to, if you are to lose, get as many legs on the board as you can. It's another dart. It's that double six.
80.
That might be the last one he throws
Tom, you require
in this
40.
game.
The reaction there says that he thinks it's the last one he's thrown. And he's
shot
right in
on the
saying
match.
so,
Tom
because Tom Lonsdale has pulled out a superb performance to kickstart his night. An average of 102.62 and a 1-2-7 and game to get the better of Davies by 4 legs to 1. And as you can see there on the left-hand side of your screen, David himself averaging 93, 50% on the doubles. He only got a couple of opportunities all told. But Tom Lonsdale off to a flying start. Next up for us is Kevin Edwards in action up against Lee Cox.
7.
Misfire of the first
Game
meant he
shot on
had
the
to
fourth
spurn
leg,
another
Kevin
dart
Edwards.
to then find the double 16, which he duly does. And from 2-0 up.
With scissors to get this exact angle of entry that we're seeing with Kevin Edwards.
Was that the time you hit a 170 to beat Gary
140.
Anderson?
Nah, different time. But it's also a true story. I did beat Gary Anderson with a 170 finish.
60.
That's a pound in the jar.
Kevin, you require 81.
Might be some legs on the board here for Kevin Edwards. A possible 11-darter.
Game shot on the sixth
Brilliant
leg.
leg of
Kevin
darts there,
Edwards.
Kevin Edwards. Lee Cox took him to the brink of defeat. And then 3 140s. 8.
Lee require 32.
For a 4-3 win.
Game shot
Cox
on the
is
match.
out the blocks
Lee
with a
Cox.
win. A 4-3 victory against Kevin Edwards gets his campaign underway. For Edwards, he kept chipping away at Lee, but when it came to the crunch, Lee just had a little bit too much. An 84-74 average, and well, the difference there lays in the checkout percentages. 4 from 8 for Lee, 3 from 11 as far as Kevin was concerned. That 81 there was for an 11-dart leg for Kevin Edwards. Coming up after the break, the man who's the favourite to win this group, and quite convincingly so, Matt Denon is in action, taking on Davies.
Nearly the biggest
Matt,
of
you
them
require
all.
103.
This is well within Matty Denon range.
Game shot on the second leg. Matt Denon.
This is a fabulous start from Matty Denon.
Did you require 80?
It's going to have to be 25 and bull. The bull, and that's set up Plumley. Oh,
Game
yes!
shot on the fifth leg.
And Davies is still in it. Great recovery from the Welshman.
Matt,
And
you
now he's
require
got 6.
32.
From double 16 to complete the job and
Game
to get
shot
himself
on the
on
match.
the board.
Matt
And the
Denon.
favourite to win this group has got his campaign up and running. As for Davies, 2 games, 2 defeats, and he's ran into 2 good performances so far. Matt Denon came out the blocks flying. He did just tail off a little bit towards the end, but a 92-21 average was enough to get over the line. Davies, he worked his way back into the match, but he couldn't quite find much in the last leg decider. Denon a 4-3 victor. Coming up after the break, our 4th game of the evening sees Tom Lonsdale on the back of his 102 average take on Kevin Edwards.
Kevin, you require 68.
And he's got 2 at double 4. Only
Game
needs the
shot on the
1.
first
14
leg,
dart
Kevin
to
Edwards.
start for Kevin Edwards. Breaking the throw with Tom Lonsdale to open up a 1-0 lead.
Time.
Kevin, you require
It's
16.
got a little bit more urgency on the matter. This has to shuffle across the hockey.
Game shot on the fourth leg. Kevin
This
Edwards.
came in off the flight. That was in off the post there for Kevin Edwards, but he won't care. It's in. That's the only.
Kevin, you require 83.
To take us to a last leg decider. 16. Leaves the ball. And now Lonsdale's back
52.
for 2 wins and 2.
Tom, you require 40. Game shot under match.
And Tops is
Tom
fouled by
Lonsdale.
Tom Lonsdale for 13 dart leg to get the better of Kevin Edwards. Lonsdale's putting the boot in on the rest of the opposition here in Group B. That's the tail of the tape, an 88 average enough in the end. 4 out of 10 on the finishing, 52 high out. Kevin Edwards, well, it's 2 defeats on 2 to kickstart his night. Him and David Davies are rooted now smack bang to the bottom of the table. And one of Lee Cox and Matt Denon is going to keep Tom Lonsdale company on 4 points when they go toe-to-toe after this short break.
You require 71.
For a 2-1 lead, treble 13, leads double 16.
Game shot on
Found
the
with a
third
prong,
leg, Lee
2-1 to
Cox.
Cox. And currently it's he who is
Fourth
at the
leg, it's
halfway
Matt to
house
throw
towards
first.
4 points.
Game on. Lee, you require 146.
This to save it. It's Hail Mary time on double 13.
133.
He couldn't find the match saver. Matt
Matt, you
Denon
require
now
52.
looking for the match winner.
Game shot
And he
under
gets
match.
over the line.
Matt
Matty Denon, a sprint to the finishing line at the end of that one. Really good performance, a couple of 180s, giving him the opportunity to break the throw of Lee Cox. A 94.17 there for Matt Denon, enough to push himself onto 4 points, joining Tom Lonsdale at the top of the table. Coming up next, 2 men looking for their first victory. Kevin Edwards, David Davies. What a fine effort that was. The battle of the 2 players at the bottom of the table. Who have
37.
yet to pick up a victory takes
Kevin, you
another
require
twist
32.
and turn.
It's Super Series Shredsville at the Live Lounge. It's getting twitchy.
Game
But it's
shot
no
under
more
match.
nervy for Kevin Edwards as he gets over the line by 4 legs to 3. Disappointment on the face of David Davies, who once again has to disconsolately shake the hand of his opponent and referee. That's 3 defeats from 3 and a 4-3 loss for David Davies to Kevin Edwards. A 78 average puts him on the board for the first time tonight in terms of the points tally. Coming up after the break, Tom Lonsdale and Lee Cox go toe-to-toe. It just
Lee require
nudges the outside wire.
145.
Triple 15 leads Tops for 145.
Game shot on the
That
first leg,
is
Lee Cox.
masterful from Lee Cox. And he lets out those
Require 68.
Double 16 for his second victory of this
Game
group.
shot
He
under
finds
match.
it.
Lee Cox.
And this time with no drama. Just the 1 dart required to get him over the line and get him onto 4 points from his 2 games so far. Steph, he made it a little bit easier for you that time. You didn't have to go through the ringer. An 87 average for Lee Cox, a 4-1 victory. And we move into our final 3 fixtures where we may see the table cut in half. Matt Denon takes on Kevin Edwards.
The double Kevin's just missed is
Game
the
shot on
double
the
that
third
Denon's
leg,
just
Matt
hit.
Denon. Kevin, you require 116.
So 6 darts on 116 to keep himself in the contest. Double 18 just has to little tiptoe up to see whether it was in.
Game shot on the 5th leg,
And
Kevin
a
Edwards.
116 from Kevin Edwards keeps himself alive in the...
Matt, you require 61.
Double
Game shot
16
under match,
completes the
Matt
job for
Denon.
Matt Denon, and that makes it 3 wins and 3 for the scholar, who is top of the class, is top of the group. So he beats Kevin Edwards by 4 legs to 2. His night ends on 2 points, having secured a solitary victory against David Davies. As for Denon, he still were perfect. Couple more games to go for us. Lee Cox and David Davies is our penultimate matchup, and that is following the conclusion of these commercial messages.
You require 103.
To level up at 2-1, otherwise he could find himself in some real peril in this match. Treble 17 leaves in double 16. That could
Game
well
shot on
be
the
a
fourth
skin
flag,
saver
Lee
for Lee
Cox.
Cox. A 103 to level up at 2-2 when it looked.
Lee
Nothing
required
feels
20.
safe with Lee Cox on the doubles at the moment. He's only checking out at 13%.
It bends the wire, but it doesn't find a
Davies
way in.
requires
And this
74.
74 would seal David Davies his first win. It's going to be one dart at tops to eventually get over the line.
Game shot and the match.
An ironic look
Davies.
is to say, why did it only come at the last? But David Davies is off the mark. He gets his first win in his final game of the session against Lee Cox by 4 legs to 2. It wasn't a classic whatsoever. That 103, it felt like may have stemmed the tide in Cox's favour, but Davies gets over the line, sealing a 4-2 victory. Next up, well, Tom Lonsdale takes on Matt Denon. A victory for the Scholar will see him top of the class with maximum grades. There did Denon.
Tom, you require 73.
And so solitary darter double top
Game
for
shot on the
Lonsdale.
first leg. Tom
Gives him the
Lonsdale.
break and gives him a 1-0 lead. Do the next best task.
Matt, you require 61.
This has to go. There is no two ways about it. And it's going to be one dart at double 4. It
57.
moves inside. And Denon
Tom, you
knows the
require
significance
16.
of that miss. And now it's Lonsdale's go at double
Game
4
shot and
as
the
he
match.
seals a
Tom
4-1
Lonsdale.
success. That is going to move him to the top of the pile overnight. Lonsdale inflicts a first defeat to the group upon Matt Denon, and in the process is the man to beat overnight. An average just under 95, 3 maximums, 4 out of 6 when it came to the finishing. Matt Denon was 3 from 3 to begin the night, but was beaten in the last by Tom Lonsdale by 4 legs to 1.
Yeah, great way to end the evening, and it's been a really good evening, hasn't it, Matt?
Oh, fantastic evening. So many stories, so many twists and turns. At one point, we was looking at just a couple of results that could really have ended this group and really sort of chopped it in half. Instead, it's now wide open.
Yeah, it really is wide open. Yeah, there have been some pivotal moments tonight. We'll take a look at the results in a moment, but that last one, it does make it more open than it might have been, because you were saying in comms, if Denon wins that, then he's basically through, isn't he?
And I think that's probably what the group actually wanted. You don't want two players sort of mixing it up at the top end of the points. Lee Cox, the game before as well, had so many darts at double. I think he only hit 2 from 18 in that game. And if he would have converted that and actually gone on to win that match, then again, he could have been cutting away from the chasing pack. He'd have been on 6 points as well, and pretty much 1 foot in Saturday night.
Yeah, well, let's focus on a few of the players' performances tonight then. Starting with Lee Cox, because he had a indifferent night, if you like. Got a victory against Lonsdale himself earlier on that stopped Lonsdale from going through the card in the end.
Well, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to be positive for Lee Cox and say he's done the minimum requirement. The minimum requirement, 4 points, to give yourself a genuine, real opportunity. Players that get through on 2 points after the first day, you say they've got a chance, but it's a slim chance. Lee Cox has a genuine opportunity. He's still well and truly in the race, and he's got the ability to get through a group like this. I expect him to do so, but he's got to sharpen up those doubles, especially in those key moments. I've mentioned on commentary today, we even had messages from his family fully in agree that he puts you through the ringer. He never seems to do anything the easy way, and once again, he had an opportunity tonight to do it the easy way. He was just a double away from putting himself onto 6 points, and he's ended up going the hard road again.
Yeah, Matthew Denon seemed to be doing it the easy way, didn't he? A really good start to his evening. Won his first 3 matches. Really good stuff from him tonight overall. But how much of a disappointment will that last result be for him?
I don't think it will be. I think when we say about Lee Cox doing the minimum requirement and getting on to 4, Matty Denon's on 6 points already and shown enough signs today that he knows he only needs to get to 10 points. That will more than likely be enough to get you through a Group B. And he only needs 2 wins tomorrow, so he knows he's only going to be 50% on those games, and he knows he's probably got the beating of the players in this group. Ran into a big one in the end there again. Tom's been so impressive tonight. He just keeps getting better every single day. And one of the key things I picked out about him was his doubles percentage at nearly 50% on Tuesday and Wednesday. He's continued that tonight, but he's backed it up with some scoring power.
Yeah, so he matched Matt Denon in the end in terms of wins and indeed points, and that means that he is tied at the top of the Group B table. Lonsdale actually on leg difference, top of it. But as you said, Lee Cox, minimum requirement, sitting pretty. He's in third place. That would get you through tomorrow. How about the other two at the bottom, Davies and Kevin Edwards? Which one of those has given you the most cause to think that they can force their way through?
Well, the main thing now that comes to that is that head-to-head when them two play each other tomorrow. That's the key. Whoever wins that head-to-head is still going to have some form of opportunity. I think the loser of that head-to-head is pretty much eliminated and gone. So that's their key fixture, but they're still going to have to pick other bits up off other people as well. There's still plenty to be done, but no one's out of that, and that's why I love Group B.
Yeah, it is going to be some race to the finish tomorrow night. It's also going to be a good race in Group C tomorrow afternoon. Now, that group started earlier today, or yesterday if you want to be pedantic about it, but David Schlichting, well, he's an entertainer and he could be entertaining on finals night in a very good position, but note of caution, only two go through and there are two players just 2 points behind him.
And two players that arguably have been producing the better stats or the better performances, Scott Taylor and Jarno Bottenberg, I think are potentially the two people to go through this. I think David Schlichting kind of needed to go through the card and get those points. Yes, he's sat pretty at the moment, but there's a lot of darts to be played, and he's got some big hitters in that group. When we look at people like Andy Hamilton, bottom of the table, I don't expect he's going to turn up and play the same that he did today, because what we've seen from Andy Hamilton over the last sort of 12 months is not the Andy Hamilton we've seen. So we can put that down to a bit of a blip, and I think he's going to cause a few problems tomorrow for the rest of that group.
Yeah, we will find out. Reece Robinson already there, of course. He won Group A. 5 players will join him. We're not sure which yet. I will ask you for just a couple of names for now, and we'll get more tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to stick with Matty Denon from this group. I'm going to stick with Lee Cox, and I'll also give you Scott Taylor. There's 3.
There we go. Buy 2, get 1 free. That is value from Matthew Edgar. And he'll be back tomorrow talking you through the action again. A double session of darts, and we will have all our finalists in place. So don't forget to join us, and don't forget that the first part of the day starts on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel exclusively. That's 1 p.m. for the start of the Group C action. Then we're on Sporty Stuff TV from 3 p.m. and 10 p.m. for the conclusion of Group B. We will see you tomorrow.